Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a review/thoughts video for this week. And for this one, I want to take a look at the movie Werewolf by Night, the Halloween theme one from Marvel Studios that is available on Disney Plus, though. And for parents out there who want to know, Werewolf by Night is rated TV 14. That's here in the US, though. Ever since the end of Avengers Endgame and all, we've seen Marvel really push some of their shows or some of the stuff they've made for like Disney Plus and all. We've seen stuff like WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier. We've also seen stuff like Captain Marvel, and of course stuff like Hawkeye and Moon Knight, which is certainly a favorite of mine, though. But we've also seen them do some smaller stuff like the Groot, like the I Am Groot, like those little mini clips and all. And then there was one that they announced, I think, that will be coming, that came to Disney Plus, which was Werewolf by Night, a sort of a black and white style film. And when the first trailer dropped on it, though, I thought this is kind of interesting. I thought I would figure of taking a look and watching it. Well, after watching the film back last night, though, I will say it's good, but it depends on your preference and taste and all. In terms of what I liked about the film, though, I do want to say what I do like is that I gotta give Marvel credit how they basically decided to pay homage to the old, like black and white horror films. I think like from the 30s, 40s, and the 50s, though, like old stuff like Dracula or Mummy or like Frankenstein and all. So I will have to give them credit for that, though. I do like how it feels like they are paying homage to it. Even the opening goes into sort of like, this when they show the Marvel Studios, it basically see the claws scratching it all, really giving it that horror vibe to even the opening to it, though. So it's really neat how they approached with the opening, and I just like the whole setting. It's like everyone is getting together to get their hands on what essentially is the Bloodstone, this like artifact that the former person had and all. So it's certainly nice to see all this like cast of characters and everything like that, and just the mood and the setting is really good for basically what they were aiming for with this one. But I definitely like how they aimed for sort of a black and white film, although somewhere near the end it starts going into more of a like a color, like the way the filter is set up is kind of like something you would see from like shows back like in like the 60s and 70s or movies like that, though. And what's also makes it very interesting is that this film, though, is, I would say, for an MCU film, I'm kind of surprised like this. This one is, let's just say, a little bit gorier. Now, I'm not saying it's gory or bloody like on the same level as, say, like if a show got, like a movie got a R-rated, or a show like a TVMA or anything like that, but it certainly is a little bit bloodier than, say, other MCU shows or movies that I've seen. Hell, I mean, even Moon Knight, which was basically more for older audiences and all that stuff, was not as gory on the same level as, say, Werewolf by Night. So it's kind of interesting to see Disney allow Marvel to get away with that, and I'm also kind of curious to see how they'll let them get away when we have Deadpool 3 happen at all. But in either case, though, it is sort of very interesting to see them do that, though. It's a little bit bloodier than most MCU shows, but I don't necessarily think that is a bad thing, or especially when the main character eventually turns into the werewolf and you start seeing him fight like the guards and everything like that, to how some of the other hunters are hunted and killed and all that. So it certainly is, like I said, much bloodier, but not necessarily a bad thing. As far as what I didn't like, or I was mixed or not 100% sure about, though, I do think that while Werewolf by Night does have a bit of a horror vibe, and it's a throwback to some of those old horror movies, which is fine, don't expect it to be a full-on horror or scary movie like, how say Dawn of the Dead is like a horror or scary movie, or like Friday the 13th or Halloween or anything like that. So don't expect that kind of horror or scary film or anything like that with this one, though. It's kind of like the same view I had with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, though. While the movie was directed by Sam Raimi, who, while most people recognize him from the Spider-Man trilogy, horror fans may recognize him from directing the Evil Dead and Army of Darkness films. It's not, I wouldn't call Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness a full-on horror movie. There are some DNA of that horror element in it to some degree, but I wouldn't go as far as calling it a horror film, and that's kind of how I feel with Werewolf by Night. It has that horror and scary vibe to it, though, but I wouldn't go as far as calling it a full-on horror film, horror film like the ones I mentioned, or even others like The Conjuring, if I'm saying the name correctly, or Abigail, or something like that. So I wouldn't really go as far as that. I mean, that certainly isn't a bad thing, but if you're expecting a full-on horror or scary or like jump scares or anything like that, you're probably not going to find this in with Werewolf by Night, though. Overall, I would say Werewolf by Night is certainly a good film from Marvel and Disney, and certainly something that fits well on Disney Plus, though. I do like the fact that at its best, though, the fact that it pays homage to the old black and white films. I really got to give them credit for doing that. And I will say it's definitely is a bit more towards the older audience, like how shows like Moon Knight is, although I will admit it is a bit more bloodier from something from the MCU or from the Marvel Studios, all that stuff. And I definitely like them doing something a little bit more for the older audience. I think that's great. And it's worse, though, as much as I enjoy the horror vibe in Werewolf by Night, it's not going to be on the same level as, say, if you watched Friday the 13th or Halloween or like Dawn of the Dead, or basically, like that, or The Purge, or movies like Nope or anything like that. So don't expect that kind of horror or scare movie in this one. This is more of paying homage to it. It's not going to be the full-on horror type film. If you're expecting that from Werewolf by Night, it might be a bit disappointed, though. But for those who like, paying homage to old horror films, old black and white ones, you'll definitely enjoy Werewolf by Night, though. I'm very interested to see if they will do a sequel to Werewolf by Night, if Disney will do something like that. And I'm kind of curious to see if we'll see like the Bloodstone, if that's going to be mentioned maybe on the supernatural side of the MCU. Could this open the door to the possibility of something like, say, seeing something like the Midnight Suns in the MCU in any way, whether it's on the movies or on Disney Plus? I mean, so there's a lot. It certainly is very interesting. I'm very curious to see if anything like that is tied into the MCU going forward. But in either case, I thought Werewolf by Night was a interesting and homage film indeed, and those who like to see stuff paying homage to the old black and white horror films, though, it's worth taking a look and watching. Just don't go in expecting like jump scares or anything like that. At least that's how I see it, though. Okay, this concludes my review/thoughts on Marvel Studios' Werewolf by Night on Disney Plus. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about Werewolf by Night? Did you by any chance get to watch it on Disney Plus, though? Do you like the fact that they took a black and white approach, or paying homage to basically, the old black and white films of, I think maybe from like the 30s, 40s, or 50s and all, though? Do you think that they should have gone for like a full-on horror or scare vibe, like some of the suspenseful or horror movies of today, though? Or are you happy with it just paying homage to it with a MCU style to it, though? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I will appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure to hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to. And Excuse me. And feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video, assuming you watch this on YouTube. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye.